1671, not bad. Now then, so if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume one of two things. Either you're looking to get your first big bike and you're thinking about getting a Suzuki Bandit, or you've just bought your first big bike and it's a Suzuki Bandit. Now, I'm in the second boat. This is my first big bike. It's the first motorbike I've ever owned. It's my Suzuki Bandit 650 and I absolutely love it. So what I want to do is go through my thoughts and opinions on the Bandit, some pros, some cons, and help you sort of weigh up whether you think it's the bike that you want. So the first pro about the Bandit is that it sounds incredible. You've got, in my case, a 650cc inline 4, and it just sounds incredible. You just can't beat a screaming inline 4. It revs up to 13,000 RPM and it just loves it. And to be honest, it doesn't half go as well, which brings me on to my second point. This bike's no slouch. I mean, it's not going to rip your face off, it's not going to break any land speed records, but it's fast enough. I mean, a good rider who knows what they're doing can get one of these up from the line to 60 in about 3 seconds, which really isn't bad for what it is. Again, it's not the world's fastest 600cc, but it's got plenty of power. You've got 80 horsepower and it'll get you where you need to go, absolutely no problems. Now my next point, comfort. This bike is so unbelievably comfortable for what it is, and it's classified as a sports tourer. If you ask anyone, they'll say, oh, it's a sports touring bike. It's a bit of a sporty body position, but not overly aggressive like your R1s, your R6s, your Gixxers, that sort of thing. It's just a nice place to be. You've got plenty of leg room. I mean, I'm 6'1" and I fit on it perfectly. I can flat foot it obviously, and I've got a nice bend in the knee, but it's just a really comfortable place to be. My knees aren't all crooked and bent out. The seat's not uncomfortable. I mean, I've done 200-300 mile round trips in a day and not really thought anything of it because it's just that comfortable. I really can't complain. Another point I wanted to mention is price. I mean, other bikes just can't contend. I mean, if you think about your classic first big bikes, you've got your MT-07 and R7, you've got Ninja 650, all of those are upwards of 4 or 5 grand, whereas I paid 1,500 quid for this. 1,500 quid for an inline 4 600cc sport bike. You just can't go wrong. And you'll get people saying, oh well, you don't have all the mod cons that the MT-07 or the Ninja 650 give you, but you really don't need it. I mean, this is a 650 and it's one of the newer ones, it's an 06, so it comes with ABS and it comes with a digital dash. I don't really know what more you could ask for. It's just a brilliant all-round bike for the price. Sorry fellas, don't mind me just scooching on by. The final pro that I can think of, I'm doing this all off the cuff, I'm just making this up as I go along by the way, will be fuel efficiency. Now, it's not going to be the world's most fuel efficient bike because obviously it's an inline 4 and it's a 600cc. However, it's not bad. As you saw at the start of the video, it was 16 quid for a full tank. 16 quid. And I think I get maybe 130, 140 miles out of a tank. I do a 20 mile commute to and from work, 20 miles to work, 20 miles back, and it lasts me just about a week. I mean, I do have to fill up twice a week, but it still costs me less than it would on a car. Speaking of commuting as well, it's really good for filtering. I mean, it's so agile and you can just throw it in between cars, no problem. It's not very wide. The other gripe I've got is that the mirrors don't really move, but I think that might be mine. I think maybe it had some aftermarket mirrors added. They don't move very well, but other than that, absolutely brilliant for filtering. Absolutely no gripes at all. I normally filter through the city centre, and there isn't many gaps I can't get through. Again, all round incredible bike. Side note, I forgot to mention about the sound of this bike. I do have an aftermarket exhaust on it, but it just sounds incredible. She lets off little pops as well. It's just, I absolutely love it. So now moving on to some of the cons about the Bandit. The first one being, it's a heavy bike. It's so heavy. I think wet weight, it's about 230 kilos, 215 kilos curb weight. And you really do feel it. If this thing wants to go, it's gonna go. The only saving grace for me is I'm quite long, so the couple of times it's tried to go on me, I've been able to catch it just by using the length of my legs. But for a shorter rider, I could see how that could potentially be a problem. Second con about it, it's getting on a bit. There's some little patches of rust and some sort of niggly little issues that you would expect to find on a bike that's very nearly 20 years old. I mean, it's a 2006 bike and you'd expect to find some problems, but there are some good examples out there. But you'd be paying a bit over the odds, and I think if you're buying a Bandit, you're buying it because it's a budget friendly option, because there's no point spending £4 on a really clean example of a Bandit unless you really want one, when you could go out and get an R7 or an MT-07 or something like that. It just doesn't make sense. The next con is that it's not fuel injected, it's carbureted, which can provide you with some issues. I know that me and my mate both have Bandits. I've had no issues with the carbs, but he's had a world of trouble. Fueling issues, blockages. And I know that comes with the nature of carbs, but fuel injected is just so much simpler. So much less margin for error, and things just don't go wrong as often. But on the other hand, with a Bandit, you're not reliant on a computer, which means that it's fairly consistent if you can get it set up right, apart from mechanical failures. And the final con for me is that you move on from it quite quickly. At least I do anyway. I mean, I've had this bike 6 months, and whilst I've definitely not outgrown it, the bike's definitely got a lot more to give. I just know that there are bikes that could give more. And for me, when I see lads riding around on R6s and ZX6s, it's just like, you can't help but think that I could get so much more out of a bike for just a little bit more input. I think for me, that's the biggest limiting factor of the Bandit, is that as a 600, it's not in line with other 600s of the era. And it does a job, it gets me around, and it's got me so much seat time on a bike. But I can't see myself keeping it forever. So overall, I think the result sort of speaks for itself. The Bandit is a brilliant bike. If you want to get into motorcycling, you're 24, and you've just picked up your direct access license, I don't think you can go wrong with a Bandit. Yes, it'll have its problems, and yes, there'll always be a bigger bike and a faster bike, but it gets you around, it's fast enough, and it'll do a job. So if you're on the fence and you're thinking about it, if you're considering weighing up the options, you know, should I get a Bandit or should I spend a bit more and get the MT-07? For me, I'd take the Bandit every day of the year. You get so much more value for money. I mean, you're paying half the price and getting a faster bike. Yes, it's not as torquey, yes, it's not as flashy, and they don't look as modern as the MT-07, but it'll get you around quickly, and it'll get you around comfortably. I really do hope that you enjoyed this video, this analysis of the Suzuki Bandit, my thoughts and opinions, and I really do hope that it's helped you make your decision. Let me know in the comments, did I sway you either way? Did I stop you getting a Bandit? Did I encourage you to get a Bandit? Oh, old lady. Careful, love. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. Would you get a Bandit? Have you owned a Bandit? And would you get one again?